I had made up my mind about selling the old Fischer lathe. It just has too many problems for my limited skill set. But so far I haven't been able to make myself put up an ad. I seem to have a hard time letting go this red heap of scrap metal. So I'm going to give it another try. Maybe that will help me make up my mind. The last time I tried the machine, the flat belt was slipping all the time, and I wasn't able to take a decent cut. So now I have replaced the flat belt with a V belt, and I used the V groove pulley that came with the machine. I did replace the motor with this green one, although its pulley is a bit smaller than it should be. So the lathe is no longer reaching its full speed, which is only 490 RPM. I do have a few small problems with this V groove pulley. The hole in here is further to the outside, and now it's no longer possible to connect the inner part of the pulley to the clutch handle over here. So now I will need to rely on the on-off switch to stop and start the lathe. Not a big deal, because a clutch like this is more for a center line shaft operated machine. Also, the V-belt pulley didn't have any keyway. It was relying on this pin to drive the lathe. So I ground up a piece of mild steel, and well, it fits reasonably well. It's better than nothing, I guess. I'm hoping that this taper will be strong enough to keep the two pieces together. If not, I will drill a few holes in here and bolt those two pieces together. The motor is still held in place with a couple of F-clamps. If I decide to keep the lathe, then I will drill some permanent holes, but not before I make a slightly bigger pulley. Let's start the lathe so you can hear it run without the constant belt ticking. I think that was the highest speed, and the whole machine was shaking a bit. The belt is also slipping a bit on the motor pulley. There is no way to get it any tighter. Hopefully it won't slip on the load. The taper already broke free. I've bolted together the two pulley parts, so now we can continue the test. Doesn't sound very good. Let's switch a gear. Same sound. Let's put it in back gear. A lot of rattling noises. With the original motor and pulley, the lathe should be running 490 RPM maximum. Let's see what it does now. $450, that's better than I expected. The lathe is a bit shaky at top speed, so I'm going to install some leveling feet. Well, the vibration dampening leveling feet don't fit because it's not flat underneath the legs, so I'm hoping that the problem will also be fixed with a piece of wood. Let's test it out. That didn't do anything. I can still feel the headstock shaking around. You might even see it on camera. I don't know. I think we should have a look inside. Hopefully there are no nasty surprises waiting there. I removed 4 Allen head bolts, and I think this here is still holding the cover in place. And this is an oil loop point, and apparently it screws into the headstock casting, because when I lift it, it is still stuck on this side. Heavy. That looks all pretty nice and shiny. I'll check for missing teeth. That bull gear is massive. If there is any unbalance in that thing, it can make the whole lathe shake. There's a big hole. Oh, that's the spindle lock. Here's a closer look at the input shaft. Spins very nicely. This here is the mechanism for operating the clutch pulley. And here's a look at the second shaft. Also spins nice. This here is for high and low gear. There's a selector fork underneath the top cover, and these 3 are for the 3 other speeds. So 2 times 3 makes 6 speeds. Also no missing teeth. And this here is the output shaft or spindle, and it isn't turning as freely as I would have liked it to be, although it is pretty heavy. And also on this one there are no teeth missing. All gears look pretty good, very good after 75 years. I did discover one thing that might be cause for concern. When I look down this hole, I can see the spindle through the split in the copper bearing, and there are quite a few wear marks on the spindle. I do wonder if there should be an oiler on here instead of an Allen head screw. And this here is the thrust ball bearing, and underneath the spindle are the gears for selecting forward and reverse. And you can also see the selector fork there. Looking at all the damage on these ring nuts, this spindle has been apart quite a few times without using the proper tools. It's the same at the front end of the spindle. The oil is pretty clean. There is some dirt at the bottom, but there's at least 2 liters of oil missing, because that came out of the side when we transported the lathe. So I'll add a bit of oil now. I don't know what the proper oil level should be, but as I see it, this gear here is the only one not running in the oil bath, and I only need to add a little bit to get it in contact. Some sort of hydraulic oil should be good enough for this old thing. Yeah, there's oil contact. So now I'll close it up again and finish turning the pointy bit that I failed doing last time. Alright, I'm ready to try this again. Here we go. Hopefully the small motor pulley won't slip. That's too much. That's quite a bit of cheddar. The cross slide isn't working, so I'm using the carriage to feed it in. Well, that wasn't great. Pretty bad. To be honest, I've already decided what I'm going to do with this lathe, but at least I should try a piece of high-speed steel. So here we go. Ah, well, that was shit. And that was a very sharp, nicely honed tool bit. Well, that's it for the old Fischer lathe. I had enough. I'll see if I can make it someone else's problem. Most likely it will end up being converted into a table. And worst case, it will find its last resting place on the scrapyard. Well, that's it for me. It's not likely you will ever see this thing again. And now some joyful news. I recently got 1,000 subscribers. Yeah, applause, fireworks, crowd goes mad, etc, etc. It took me over a year, but still, it's a bit of a milestone. So cheers to all of you, and onwards and upwards to 2,000 subscribers. Preferably before the end of the year, so I'll win a bet with my nephews. I would just love to take their fidget spinners.